Should the Lakers trade Austin Reaves? That is what we are discussing here on today's Lakers Report by Chat Sports. Welcome into the show. My name is Jeffrey Cooperstein. Great to be with you guys. And Bleacher Report suggested this Austin Reaves trade idea that I think is absolutely insane. We're going to break it all down here on today's show, but before we do, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you want more Lakers content all throughout the 2025-26 NBA season, we will constantly be covering everything from LeBron James to Luka Doncic to everything surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers. So without further ado, let's hop into today's show. So you might be asking yourself, what is the reason that the Lakers would even entertain trading Austin Reaves, someone who is a key part of their team heading into this season? Well, the answer is pretty simple. This offseason, Austin Reaves did decline a max extension from the Los Angeles Lakers, and he is set to pretty much become a free agent in the summer of 2026. He's likely to decline the final year of his contract. He has a player option, more than likely going to decline that and test free agency next summer. Well, he will be an unrestricted free agent, free to sign with any team. And that deal that he just declined this summer, 4 years, $90 million. So Reaves believes that he can get more than that on the open market. PJ Washington of the Dallas Mavericks just signed for 4 years and $90 million. So Austin Reaves is probably right in betting on himself to try and go get the bag, because I think some team might end up giving it to him. And there are reports out there that Reaves is looking for north of $30 million on his next deal. And at 27 years old, is that a risk that the Lakers are going to want to take, giving a guy who might be entering his prime, may not, kind of stay on the upward trajectory and have the development that you might have of giving a guy that money, but he still is a very good player in the league. He had a career year last season, averaging 20 points a game for the first time in his career in 73 games. He also averaged almost 6 assists and really became a valuable playmaker over the last couple of seasons, averaging 5.5 in 23-24 and then 5.8 in 24-25. He's always been an excellent three-point shooter. He was down in 21-22, but almost 40%, 36%, and almost 38% last season. So this is a guy who is a force on the offensive end. He can kind of do it all. If you need him to play point guard, he can. He's really best served as a 2, though, playing off of a point guard like a Luka or a point forward like LeBron James. He can be a great secondary ball handler on the court for you at all times, and he really opens up a lot of options on the offensive end, because you can do a lot of things with him. You can play pick and roll. He can be the pick and roll ball handler. He can also come off of screens and get open shots, and he can create shots for himself in the lane as well. He's really a Swiss Army knife on the offensive end of the court. The only question with Austin Reaves is whether or not he can get it done on the defensive end, and that is certainly where teams and where the Los Angeles Lakers would have pause. If the Lakers don't want to re-sign Austin Reaves next summer, and they absolutely might, it's completely possible that Reaves declines that player option, goes to free agency, and ends up right back with the Lakers. That is certainly in play. But if the Lakers don't see Reaves as part of their long-term future, they should trade him and try to get something for him, because you can't let a guy like this, who's averaging north of 20 points a game, walk for nothing in free agency. And the Lakers right now are a team that is right up against the apron, and they're in the luxury tax, and they are not going to have a lot of room to work with in free agency. So if they lose Reaves, it's going to be very, very difficult to replace him. Right now, I have Reaves in the Lakers starting 5 for this upcoming season alongside Luka Doncic, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, and Deandre Ayton as that starting center. And this right here is one of the best starting 5s in the NBA. I don't think there's any question about it. The backcourt of Luka and Reaves is the best offensive backcourt in the NBA. I think Luka is the best offensive player in the league, followed by Reaves, who can play off of him. And those two guys will just be able to get each other open and get each other great looks at all times. I think it's a fantastic offensive backcourt. Now, again, on the other end, leave something to be desired. But that's why you have Rui. That's why you have LeBron James on that other end of the court as well. And then Deandre Ayton playing off of those guys as a lob threat in the pick and roll, where Ayton is really, really successful. I think he's going to be a very good partnership with both of those two guys in the backcourt. So as we sit right now, I do think the Lakers have a very formidable starting five. Hopefully they can gel, and hopefully they can build off what they built in the second half of last year. I know they came up short in the playoffs, but I think that starting five can be one of the best in the Western Conference, and you can see the Lakers having home court advantage in the first round of the NBA playoffs. We will get to the trade idea that Bleacher Report had here in just a second, but I do need to tell you guys about our sponsor of today's show. Welcome back, PrizePicks, to the Lakers Report. We absolutely love PrizePicks here at Chat Sports, and this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The football season is officially here. Basketball season is right around the corner, so don't miss any of the action this season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. PrizePicks is super simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. PrizePicks is also the best place to get action in more than 40 states, including California, Georgia, Florida, and, of course, Texas. They put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And you can use, like, Venmo, you can use Apple Pay, you can use all sorts of platforms to get your money. And I do have a projection for football season. I'm going to take the more on CeeDee Lamb and also take advantage of the promotion they're giving you with Dak Prescott. If you think Dak is going to throw for more than half a passing yard, you can take the more on that, and then you can pair it up with other things like a Devontae Smith rush and receiving touchdown, or Javonte Williams less than 10 rush attempts. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app, use code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 in lineups. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. All right, here's the trade idea that Bleacher Report suggested, and we're going to break this down and talk about it here on the show. The Lakers receive Dereck Lively II and Caleb Martin. The Mavericks get Austin Reaves and that 2031 first-round pick that the Lakers have at their disposal. And on the surface, I think this would be a fantastic trade for the Los Angeles Lakers to make. Bleacher Report disagrees with me, so let's hop into what they said, and then I'll tell you why I disagree. Here's what Zack Buckley had to say on this trade. Lakers fans probably won't like this suggestion. Maybe their decision makers wouldn't either, but that's fine. They all seem like big fans of Reaves, and he's given them plenty of reasons to feel that way, like the 20.2 points and 5.8 assists he averaged as a third option this past season. He's a really good player. He also is not a great trade asset. His growth potential is probably limited by his age, and he might be super expensive by this time next year. One executive recently told ESPN's Tim Bontemps that Reaves will get $30 million plus on his next contract. So the thing is, the Mavericks really won't like this trade either. And I think that's for a multitude of reasons. Number one, they are very, very, very high on Dereck Lively, the third-year big man out of Duke that they drafted with the 12th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. The Mavericks are trying to build their team on size, athleticism, and defense. They're not going to trade away any of that size, especially for a guy in Austin Reaves who is basically heading into the final year of his contract. I really think that Austin Reaves is a great player. I just don't think he fits what the Mavs are trying to do. And then the Mavs also feel completely burned by the Luka Doncic trade and what happened on February 1st, where the Lakers end up getting the superstar in the NBA in exchange for the aging superstar in Anthony Davis, and alongside Max Christie and just one first-round pick. I do think that the Mavericks feel like they made a mistake on that trade, and they'll be very hesitant to deal with Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers again. So because of those two things, I really don't think that this is a trade that would ever materialize. I don't think the Mavericks are ready to give up on third-year big man Dereck Lively, who's just 21 years old. Yeah, he's dealt with some injury issues, and yeah, he's had, some on-the-court things that he hasn't really been able to figure out quite yet, especially on the defensive end. But Dallas is really, really high on him, and I don't think they're getting rid of him for Austin Reaves. So, look, I think they would be interested in getting the first-round pick as well, because Dallas's cupboard isn't very stacked, so to speak, as far as the draft picks go, because they had to deal a draft pick to acquire PJ Washington. They had to deal one to get Daniel Gafford. They had to deal one to get Kyrie Irving. So the Mavericks don't have many first-round picks at their disposal either. So maybe that would intrigue them and maybe make them think about this deal. But I don't think that the Mavericks would be interested in this. And I want to preface this. I have a revised trade here. I don't think that the Lakers would accept this trade whatsoever, but this is what I think the Mavericks would counter offer with. I think the Mavericks would get Austin Reaves. They would throw in a protected first-round pick back to the Lakers and give them Caleb Martin and Dwight Powell to match the salary. And before you think that this is an absolutely crazy trade, it kind of is, but Dwight Powell and Luka do have established chemistry. And yes, I'm not saying you can play Dwight Powell 15 to 20 minutes a night at this point anymore, because you really can't. But he does have established chemistry with Luka. He knows how to run the pick and roll with him. Back in 2021 and 22, Dwight Powell is actually the best roll man in the league when it comes to pick and roll points per possession. So he could actually be a pretty solid asset to the Lakers and be DeAndre Ayton's backup. Now, you'd be relying on Ayton to play a lot of heavy minutes there with the Lakers. They did bring back Jackson Hayes as well. So if you have Dwight Powell as your third center, it wouldn't really be about the trades. It would be about getting out of the Austin Reaves business in exchange for a first-round pick, essentially. So I don't think the Mavericks would accept the first trade. I really don't think the Lakers would accept the second trade, which is why I think at the end of the day, Austin Reaves is going to end up staying a Los Angeles Laker. But I want to ask you guys before we get on out of here, if you were Rob Pelinka, would you trade Austin Reaves? If you would, type T for trade. If you would not, type P for pass. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys would do as GM of the Los Angeles Lakers. As I said, the most likely outcome here is I think both the Lakers and Reaves want to play this season out and then just see what happens. I think Reaves is willing to bet on himself, and what if AR has 25 points a game this year, 6 assists, shoots 40% from 3? Like, it's very possible he could get a max contract next offseason. And if that's the case, really not sure the Lakers would be interested in bringing Reaves back either. I think Reaves sees himself as a number one, maybe a very high-end number two option out in free agency. So maybe that's what happens. But I'll tell you this, if Austin Reaves continues on that upward trajectory and does have a season better than last year, I think that means really, really good things for the Los Angeles Lakers. So, of course, we'll keep you up to date if anything happens with Austin Reaves, if he ends up signing an extension, if the Lakers end up trading him. You know where to find it right here. It's youtube.com/LakersTV, and we'll see you guys soon here on the channel.